Mid-year reports are being sent home as we near the end of term 2, and while some students will get piles of A's and B's, others who try just as hard won't get the same outcome. For some advice on how parents can react to grades, let's bring in parenting expert Claire Orange. Good afternoon, Claire.
Hi, Trace.
Now, you've personally heard of a worrying trend, parents paying their kids for top results. Should this even be happening?
Well, you know, Trace, there's not really many hard and fast rules in parenting, but there are three. There's predictability, consistency, and unconditional love and acceptance of your child. When you start to pay for A's for the child who's worked extremely hard and maybe got a C, you've missed out on the really good stuff, haven't you? You've put a condition around your acceptance of that child, and it's really a no-no in parenting. So there's other ways to motivate children to achieve well to their best potential, but paying for grades, it starts to change the way children see themselves, and it's very unhealthy and something I certainly wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't sit well with me. How are grades on reports stressful? How stressful are they for children?
Right, well, it was interesting. Last year there was a collective study released by the OECD, and it was looking at stress levels of our students across Australia, and in excess of 60% of students were finding sitting tests causing anxiety, as well as getting those reports and those grades back. Now, some of that they've got to expect. It's a high stress environment, but certainly what it's doing is it's starting to define the child when we are attributing grades to effort. And, you know, I think us parents need to remember there's two parts to a child's report. There's that blasted grade, and then there's all of the effort and the soft skills, you know, whether they can work as part of a team, turn up on time, work independently. That's the stuff we need to be looking at if we want to reduce the stress of our children.
Indeed. Well, what should a parent do if their child's report indicates they're struggling in one or many areas?
Well, I think things that we need to ask ourselves as parents is firstly around the developmental aspects. You know, if we've got our May and June babies, sometimes they've come in right at the end. They're a whole year younger than their peers, and sometimes even based around gender. Some children are less ready for literacy and numeracy in those early years. So if it's, you know, you've had a child with a language disorder, they're at the end of the year, or, you know, they just haven't caught up yet, take those developmental things into consideration. I think we've got to look at consistency. Is it happening all the time, or is it just on one subject area on this report? And then become curious, find out why that's happening and plug the gap. And the last thing I think we need to remember, Trace, is the big picture. You know, that piece of paper, it doesn't say that my child's really kind and plays with the child who's been left out, or helps me with the baby at home, or always takes my dog for a walk. It doesn't speak to the character of my child. It just says where they're at this point in time. It's a snapshot. So I think us parents need to remember there's so much more to our kids than a piece of paper, and let's celebrate all of that fabulous stuff, and perhaps even write your own report for your child on their really good things. Give them a whole host of A's.
And those traits are very, very important indeed. Claire Orange, thank you so much. And you also reveal those traits within yourself, so thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Trace. I'll take that A.
Big A+.